Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building in the brand new world of San Sequoia, which is the latest world that we got from the newest expansion pack. It came out last week, the Sims 4 Growing Together EP, and I'm going to be building a big suburban San Sequoia family home. I'm really sorry if I just absolutely butchered the name of this world. I'm still finding my bearings with it. I'm still not 100% on how you pronounce this new world's name, just because I've watched so many different videos of people talking about the new world, or like they might mention it here and there, and what I've seen to have found is a lot of people tend to pronounce the world's name differently. I did mention this, I think last week, when I built the brand new pack for the first time, and one of you very nicely gave me kind of like a pronunciation guide, if you want to call it, of how to actually pronounce this brand new world's name. So thank you so much if that was you. I am now using that as like my go-to for how to pronounce this world's name until I fully understand on how you pronounce it. But either way, this house ends up having 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, and it's built on a 30 by 20 lot. Now this particular lot, well actually I say this particular lot, I think it's just a thing in this brand new world, because this is the 30 by 20, which is bigger going left to right than what it is front to back. And something that I've noticed in this brand new world that seems to be the case for a lot of the lots, like I think there is one 30 by 20 that's, you know, bigger going front to back, and then 150 by 40 that's bigger going front to back. The rest of them seem to be bigger widthways, and I've mentioned this before, but I always get a little bit stuck when it comes around to building on these types of lots, just because I feel like gardens can be very squished this way, and normally in my builds I like to have really just fun activity filled gardens, and I feel like when you build on lot sizes like this it is quite hard to do that. But I mean, I think I managed to make it work. I like the way it turned out. It has got a good handful of different things for your Sims to do in the back garden. There ends up being like some garden planters, nice little barbecue area. There is also a little paddling pool as well. I placed down a paddling pool into the back garden because it was so small I couldn't fit a swimming pool, and so I thought next best thing, I'm going to place down a paddling pool. But you know, I'm really happy with the way this house turned out. But getting on and actually talking a little bit more about the house itself. So like I mentioned, it's got 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, and if you're curious, I decorate the rooms to be 1 for a set of parents, 1 for a kid, and then 1 for an infant. And then there is also a little guest bedroom downstairs as well. Now I'm really excited because this build, like my build last week, but I did kind of forget to mention it last week just because I think I was on such an adrenaline rush, because I was so excited to actually get in and just do the build and then just speak about the build and just share my excitement for the new expansion pack. But this build is going to be in my save file, and so I have got a little family that's going to be living here. Now going back to my build that I did last week, I promise you it is relevant. Now last week I built a huge generations family home. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a little card on the screen now. I basically just wanted to build a massive house using all the new items that we've got in the pack, and my main focus going into that build is I wanted to build a house that had a bedroom for every single life stage in the game. So you know, infants, toddlers, children, teenagers, adults, like guest bedroom. I wanted there to be literally a bedroom for every single life stage. I even whacked an object baby in, I say an object baby crib in the infant's room as well. But the thing is, where I was building on a 50 by 40 lot that when you go into a brand new save file is already owned by a family, and they are called the Michelson's family. I'm sure you're probably aware of who they are by now, because if you've seen any of the Growing Together promos, like the trailers and whatnot, the family that are kind of like being presented in them trailers, that is the Michelsons. They are a brand new family in this brand new world, and I basically kicked them out of their house, and I felt really bad. But the thing is, where this is pretty much the closest kind of generations type of expansion pack that we're probably ever going to get, I really wanted there to be one house in this brand new world for my save file that is just, you know, a bedroom for every single life stage. And that family, unfortunately, there wasn't enough members, so I did have to kick them out. But don't worry, because I built my new house, and this is their new little house where they're going to live in my save file. Now I did get them to move neighbourhoods, which originally I did want to try and keep them to their original neighbourhoods, but then I thought, to be honest, it's not really the worst thing in the world if they do happen to move to the next neighbourhood. They originally live in Hopewell Hills, that is where that massive 50 by 40 lot is, but I got them to move it to Gilbert Gardens, which is the neighbourhood that I'm building on. And also, side subject, if you're curious on where exactly I built this in the game, if you look in the top left corner, you can see, I think it's called Parkside Place off memory. It's far too small for me to see on my Premiere Pro software, but I believe it's called Parkway Place. So if you do want to download this build of gallery and you want to place it down to the same place that I built it, that is where I decided to build it. But yeah, I did decide to get them to move neighbourhoods, mostly because I wanted their house to have a drive. I was kind of, I don't want to say downgrading them, but they went from a 50 by 40 lot to now moving into a 30 by 20 lot. I did feel a little bit bad, and so I did want to give them a bit of a driveway space. And this particular lot that I'm building on has kind of like a nice little dip in the curve, and normally whenever I do driveways, I always like to try and get it so the driveway can be coming off that little dip, so it looks a little bit more realistic that way. The actual car on the driveway, by the way, isn't functional, unfortunately, which, side subject, I actually feel like I have a funny feeling, but then don't go off me, because sometimes I predict things in this game and I am completely off, but I have a feeling that one day in the maybe like the next year or 2 years, we could potentially be getting like a cars update. Because hear me out, I feel like, especially in like the more recent worlds that we're getting in the game, there seem to be more cars driving around, and there also seems to be more cars in the actual neighbourhood itself, like plonked onto the sidewalk or something. And so I'm thinking, well, why are they just dangling it in our face? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe one day soon, or like one day in a few years, or it could be months, who knows, we could potentially be getting cars in the game, but like not so it's going to be an open world. I'm fully understanding that the game cannot be open world just for the way it was built, but in a sense of, you know, like Sims 2, how we had cars, or maybe you could just click on the car and then your Sims could just like get in it, and then it's a loading screen. I don't know, but either way, the car on the driveway is not usable. I wanted it to seem like this family had a little bit more going for them than what they might actually have going for them, if you get what I mean. But anyway, moving on from that, and actually talking a little bit more about the family itself. So the family consists of 4 Sims. We have 2 parents, and then we have a little boy, and then also a little girl who's an infant. Now their names are Celeste, Christopher, Atlas, and Orion. I did just have to look up a pronunciation for how you say the infant's name, but the thing is, the issue that I just ran into, there's a few different ways that you can pronounce it, but either way, the family consists of 4 Sims, and like I said, they already live in this world. Now, one thing that was a little bit gutting for me, and I don't know if you resonate with this, but in one of the Growing Together trailers, it was a gameplay trailer, it pretty much focused on Celeste's dad and the relationship that Celeste's dad had with her partner Christopher, and how her and her dad were so compatible, like they're the best of mates, they really get along. But then her husband and her dad, like they didn't like each other, not because I don't know, they had bad compatibility. Anyway, I then got my hands in the pack, and then I was exploring all the brand new townies and just, you know, having a little like nose about. I realised the dad doesn't even exist. Honestly, broke my heart. I was so excited to actually just have all of the different Sims that I've been seeing in the trailer in my game for so long, because where I've been rewatching the trailer over and over again, I was just a massive fan of all the Sims. And then once we got the gameplay trailer, and then we actually saw the compatibility between the mum and the grandfather, and then the grandfather and the grandkid, like I was excited to actually see them in my game. I was actually really heartbroken when I went into the world. I noticed that they weren't in a house, and so I thought, they'll just be in the little like managed households bin. They're not. He doesn't even exist in the family tree. Never heard of him. I just don't know why they did that. And so for my save file, don't you worry, I will be re-adding the granddad back in. He's going to be a living member in the family tree. I'll probably also add in Christopher's family, you know, maybe some like distant relatives and like some cousins and stuff. I feel like it's only fitting because I'm doing that for pretty much my whole entire save file anyway. But yeah, I was really quite gutted with that one, to be honest with you. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it was just kind of like an oversight, or maybe they already had too many Sims in the world, and I don't know if there's any kind of limitations on it. Either way, gutted, but maybe he could potentially live in this house, who knows. That is something also that I wanted to mention, because, you know, I said that there's the 4 bedrooms. We've got a parent's room, an infant's room, and then the kids' room. There is the guest bedroom, but I wanted to ask you all what you think I should do. Do you think I should move the granddad once I actually create him? Again, because at the minute he is not really a Sim. But once I create him, do you think I should move him into this house, and instead of it being a guest bedroom downstairs, make it into the granddad's room? Because I don't know what kind of living situation he would have, but maybe he could just, you know, like fill out the empty space downstairs. Or, I mean, you could still use it as a guest bedroom, but I like the idea for the guest bedrooms to be for the grandparents, and as he's kind of like a bit of a homeless Sim, you might as well move him in anyway, do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Let me know what you think I should do, but that is definitely something that I'm kind of debating in terms of save file. But getting back to actually talking about The Sims, by the way, I'm very much aware that I've now moved on into the inside and I've started furnishing, so I'm going to give you kind of like a little brief overview of them, and then when I move on into their little separate rooms, I'll speak more about them and kind of like their personalities, because I do want to speak about what I'm doing right now. But in terms of the actual household itself, both parents are in the tech guru career, and so this house does have a little home office, probably one of the best home offices that I've ever built, because it's got 2 computer desks in there. They've both got 2 monitors. They've also got like art easels, and there's different like bits and bobs here and there that kind of are catered towards them Sims, because one of the Sims, the dad, likes rocket science, or like that's one of his interests. And so in his little like office space, I put like a little model of a rocket on it, and then for the mum's area, I tried to make it feel like, you know, the kid has drawn some stuff, made some like arts and crafts, and she's put it above her desk. It's a really cute little office space, and I don't think I've ever built an office what has like 2 desks in. But yeah, they're both in the tech guru career, and so they've got a little home office. There's also a kid, which, to be honest, didn't really have too much to go off, because the kid's a hothead. It's like in terms of his hobbies and his skills and like what he likes to do on a Saturday or Sunday when he's not at school, didn't really know too much about him. I did at one point, you won't see me do it because I didn't actually put it out, but at one point when I was decorating his room, I did debate placing down, you know, them wall decorations that we've got, which you can place down to the wall and it looks like something's bumped the wall and it's kind of like marked the wall. I was debating placing down one of them wall decorations into his bedroom, because I was thinking, or maybe he got a little bit heated, maybe he like slapped the wall and maybe it bruised it, and I was debating it. But then I thought, actually, he's a kid, probably best not. But I mean, you can definitely still add that in if you want to do that. But yeah, in terms of his personality, there wasn't really that many like likes and dislikes and interest there. And so I was thinking that I'll just make him quite into a little gamer kid. As both his kids are in the tech guru career, it kind of, both of his parents are in the tech guru career, it makes sense for their kid to have some sort of interest in gaming and, you know, video coding and, you know, all them kind of stuff. And so that was what I was thinking for him. And then the last Sim in this household is the infant. Now, she's Wriggly, which is such an adorable trait. If you're not aware, we've got 6 new traits with infants. We've got cautious, sensitive, calm, intense, Wriggly and Sunny. Now, I can only speak for 2 of the traits because I've only experienced 2 in gameplay. The 2 that I've experienced are calm and Sunny, because basically, don't know why I did it to myself, but my first time playing with this new expansion pack, I just wanted to have as many different, you know, just family experiences as I could possible. I thought, why not try and get my Sims to have twins? I set the lot type, you know, like on a key lime, got them to fall pregnant, she had twins, and then I actually realised what I'd set myself up for, and so I thought giving myself 2 infants, one with the calm trait and one with the sunny trait, might be the easiest way to actually play with infants and not, you know, want to pull my hair out. But I mean, they're definitely a handful. Still enjoyable, don't get me wrong, having the absolute time of my life at the minute, but they are very time consuming, infants. But I'm just so happy we've now gotten them in the game. But yeah, the infant in this household, she's a little Wriggly infant. But anyway, moving on from that and actually getting back and talking about what I'm doing right now and what is on the screen. So like I've kind of already briefly mentioned, I have now moved on into the inside of this house. I started off by doing the little entrance hallway. The hallway where you walk in through the front door also has a staircase, and then you kind of open up into quite an open plan dining room. I say open plan, it's not massively open plan, but I didn't end up putting an archway. I just ended up placing down 2 columns down like in between the walls, just to kind of like separate it off a little bit. But I didn't want it to completely close in the room, if you get what I mean. But you've seen that I've already done the kitchen. One thing that I did in the kitchen, which I was really proud of this little idea. I think I might have done it once or twice before, but just in case you saw it and you wondered how I did it, basically I wanted it to look like this kitchen is a proper lived in place. Like Sims live here, they eat here, they maybe like do some homework in this kitchen. It's a proper lived in family home. And I thought 2 nice things to add into the kitchen was, one, place down loads of different post-it notes and kind of like kids drawings onto the fridge that looks like maybe the little boy, he's done some drawings at school, maybe in like art class, and he's brought them home and he's, you know, proudly showing them on the fridge. So I did that, and the way that I did that is basically using the tool mod, and then I was able to gravity pull the post-it notes and then also the paintings onto the fridge. I've done this a ton of times, but I just used some new paintings that we've got from the Grown Together debug menu on that fridge. So if you've never seen them before, that is why. But the second thing I did in the kitchen to make it feel a little bit more like a lived-in family kitchen is I actually placed down a mug that we got from the Everyday Clutter kit, and then some individual pencils, pens and a crayon, and basically using the tool mod I rotated them and then plopped them into this mug to make it look like, instead of having a proper like pen pot in the kitchen, over time and just over just general like day to day, they've just got one of their mugs that they probably used to use for their coffee or their cup of tea in the morning, and they've just started placing down little like pens, and maybe there's like a rubber in there, or like eraser, because I think that means something else in the US. Maybe there's an eraser in there or something. And yeah, I just thought it was like a nice little touch into the kitchen. But then you would have quickly seen that I just did the utility room. In the utility room there was a washing machine, a tumble dryer, and there is also a washing line outside. And then now you can see that I've now moved on into the next room, which is the lounge room. Probably one of my favourite rooms in this whole entire house. I'm so happy with the way this room turned out. I used a new sofa that we got in the new expansion pack. It's the one that's got the pillows on it and then also the throw. And I mentioned this last week because I did use this last week in my build. But the thing is, with this sofa, although it's absolutely beautiful and it comes in so many lovely swatches, there is one no love seat version for it, and two no like armchair version for it. And so I find whenever I'm trying to do like a lived in family house, I don't want to use two of the same sofa that's got the exact same decorative cushions and blankets on it, because to me, realistically, if you're going to be living in a house and you've got a few different pillows and blankets on your sofa, you're not going to have them in the exact placement to the centimetre as the other sofa, if you get what I mean. And so I really wish that sofa either came with a no pillow version, or if we just got like some more variations of it in like a two-seater or maybe like an armchair. My little workaround in this room was I just used a sofa that we got from the Cottage Living expansion pack, and I tried to find it in a similar blue swatch to what seems to be on both the sofa from the new expansion pack and then also in the rug in this room. And I think it matched quite nicely. They do both look to be, I think it's called Chesterfield sofas, you know, like them leather sofas, which in real life are very uncomfortable and you do not want to sit on in a hot day. Do you know the ones that I mean? The ones that are like all leather, typically you can find like a red Chesterfield sofa. In real life, super uncomfy. In The Sims, doesn't matter because they love it. But I placed down like two Chesterfield looking sofas and tried to make it work. But the new rug that we've got from this expansion pack, I'm a big fan. I am absolutely obsessed with this new rug, but more so in this one particular swatch that I used in the lounge room. I just think it's so pretty. It's got all these different like cream detailing and like all this red stitching and blue stitching and all these beautiful patterns. It's absolutely perfect. But I used it in the lounge room. Also used the new fireplace. I did size it down, which, if you're wondering, by the way, you can size down fireplaces in the game. It really doesn't matter at all. I've sized down and sized up fireplaces before in the past. Sims, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't even faze them, and so you can still use the fireplace. There is a little TV on top of the fireplace, and then in the corner, one of my absolute all-time favourite new items that we've got in this expansion pack, I placed down the upright piano, like the standing piano. Big fan. One thing that I placed on top of it, which actually I do want to talk about, we've now got marriage certificates in the game from the Growing Together debug menu. Now, the way that you get them in the game, I can only speak from having pre-existing married Sims. So basically, when I dove straight into gameplay, I didn't get my Sims to get married and then like start a family. They were already married. I created them married in CAS, and then I got them to move into a house. The way that I got it is I just got my Sim to call up, I'm assuming the council, and you can ask to be sent a marriage certificate. It costs 50 simoleons and then they get sent it. There's loads of different swatches. I love it. One thing though, shouldn't that have been in the My Wedding Stories game pack? Is it just me? I feel like maybe that was a little bit of a leftover thing that maybe they just completely forgot about it and thought it would be a good idea to add it in to the Growing Together expansion pack. But yeah, when I first saw that in the debug menu, I was thinking, well, hang on, shouldn't that be with the wedding pack, not an expansion pack that focuses on generations? I don't know, but it was just a thought that I had. Either way, I placed that down onto the standard piano, but the way that I did it is I wanted it to look like it was framed, but like sitting on the piano rather than hanging on the wall. So what I did, I've done this a few times before in the past, but if you've never managed to like catch a video where I've done it before, basically you place down any painting that you fancy onto the wall, and then using the tool mod you highlight it so it goes green. Then use the gravity pull feature, which if you hold Alt and then click in a different direction, so the direction you want it to pull in, you then put it away from the wall, so it's kind of like floating, and then you can just rotate it backwards so it looks like it's leaning. That is pretty much what I did, and yeah, instead of looking like it's been framed in the wall, it just looks like it's like a framed picture frame, if you get what I mean. Now, this is only something that you can do with the tool mod, but I do want to mention, because it's been a while since I've mentioned this, I think, but even though I built this house using the tool mod and I was able to like manipulate objects and get objects to be like a certain way and height and stuff using the tool mod, you don't need it. Like, it's not required to download this build. Although I might build with a better build buyer mod and the tool mod, they're just purely like tools to help me build. They're not required to download it. So say for example, you're someone that plays on console, maybe you play on like Xbox or something, and you want to download this build, you can still download it off the gallery and it will look the exact same. The way that tool works, it doesn't create like custom objects or CC objects. It basically just allows you to manipulate existing objects, but they're not classed as CC. So you can still download this build. Say if you're playing on your PlayStation, you can still download it, and all the things I have adjusted using the tool mod will also look the same on your console. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I felt like that was quite important to know. I haven't mentioned that in a while, and I do often get questions about it. But either way, moving on. As you can see, I've now moved on into the next room, which is the home office. So this is the room which I imagine both the parents of this household would spend quite a large chunk of their time when they're not tending to their little girl. In here, like I've already mentioned, there ends up being 2 computers. Both of them have 2 monitors. There is also a few different decorational things that are placed down onto their desk to make it feel a little bit more catered towards them Sims. So the desk that has the whiteboard kind of like in front of it, that ends up being the desk for the father of the household, so Christopher. Like I've already mentioned, he likes rocket science, and so I plopped down like a little rocket science model onto his desk. Then I also placed down his high school diploma on top of it, like next to the whiteboard. And then the other desk is for Celeste, so the wife of this household, or the mum. And for her desk, she didn't really have too many different likes and dislikes that I could really decorate towards too. So I was thinking, okay, well maybe she just loves seeing her kids work, and you know, she loves showcasing all the different things that her kid brings home from school. And so I popped down at some little wall decorations that looked like they were handmade in front of her desk. There is also a little filing cabinet kind of in between the two, and you won't see me do it yet, you'll see me do it in a few minutes. But when I move on into the next room, which is the guest bedroom, I actually remembered that in the everyday clutter kit we've got some like techie clutter, and what I mean by that is it's kind of clutter and decorations that look to be like drawing tablets and like iPads, you know, like all them electrical bits and bobs basically. And I remembered that when I was doing the guest bedroom, and so I ended up placing that down onto the filing cabinet. But then also in that room I placed down an art easel. Again, Christopher the dad, he likes a bit of art, he likes dabbling with the paintbrush here and there, and so I gave him a little art easel to play around with. There is also like an armchair in that room, and then that is pretty much it for the home office. Now you can see I've moved on into the next room, which is one of the bathrooms. Now, like I've already mentioned, there ends up being 3 bathrooms in this house. There is one downstairs, which is kind of like the bathroom for the guest bedroom, or maybe even like the potential grandfather's bedroom. And there is also 2 bathrooms upstairs. This is the only bathroom that I decided to show, because basically I did furnish and film the upstairs bathrooms, but then I ended up making them a little bit smaller once I pressed stop recording, because basically they're quite spacious bathrooms, one of them anyway, and it was so big, and there was so much empty space in the middle of the floor. And where I was using a white tile as the flooring, it looked a little bit too clinical, and it just looked a little bit too, I felt like I was in like a doctor's office or something. Like it didn't look right, and so I decided to make it a little bit smaller. But like I said, I did that when I was not filming, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to show you the furnishing for the downstairs instead. You'll still see screenshots of the upstairs bathroom, and also you'll see it when I like move around on the upstairs as well. But yeah, that is one of the bathrooms. Ends up having the new shower and bath combo. I'm extremely happy that we finally got a new version of that shower and bath like object, because previously we've only ever had 2 of them in the game. One of them was base game. It's a little bit more like traditional, kind of always tend to use it for like your nan and granddad. And there is another one which came from the Parenthood game pack, but that's a little bit more colourful in the curtain swatches of like the shower curtain, which, don't get me wrong, love that. But sometimes when I'm trying to do like a neutral bathroom, it can be quite hard. And so yeah, I'm really happy we've now finally got just like a better, I don't want to say better, but like another version of the shower and bath combo, and I decided to use it in that bathroom. And there is also just like a toilet and a sink, and then I cluttered up the sink to be filled with loads of different like extra towels and soaps and just all them kind of like pieces of clutter. But then you would quickly just see me do the little guest bedroom downstairs. In there, where it was kind of partly going to be a guest bedroom, could potentially, if you think it's a good idea, could potentially be the grandparents' bedroom. I didn't want to overly clutter it because I was thinking, well, if you don't like the idea of it becoming the grandparents' bedroom, then I wanted it to be decorated to be quite generic. And so I tried to stay away from placing down like family photos in there, or like family heirlooms and things that I feel like you wouldn't really have in a guest bedroom. Like I feel like pictures of the family you probably wouldn't find in a guest bedroom. You would probably just find like a picture of a plant, or like a picture of like a pear or a tree or something. I wanted it to be quite generic in that room. But now, as you can see, I've now moved on to the upstairs portion of the build, and I started off by furnishing the first bedroom, which is for the little boy. So like I already mentioned, this kid is basically a hothead, and that was pretty much the only information we really have about him. We do know that he likes cerebral, I think that's how you pronounce it anyway, I'm really sorry if I butchered that, but he likes talking basically to intelligent Sims. And so I was thinking, well, maybe he wants to maybe one day grow up and become someone that's got a really high logic skill or something. And so I thought, well, I'll place down a little science table in here because your Sims can like reach the mental skill with that object. And so I thought, well, that's quite a nice little fit. And then in terms of the rest of his personality and also how to fill out the rest of his room, like I said, both his parents are in the tech guru career. It probably would have rubbed off on him a little bit, and so I thought I'll place down a little computer desk into this room. And so I placed it down onto the other side of the wall. Currently I'm just doing one side, which ends up having that little science table like I was saying, also ends up having a little chest of drawers with a penguin TV on it, and there is also the new toy box that we got from the Growing Together expansion pack. I am absolutely obsessed. I'm so in love with this new toy box. Do you know how long I've just wanted just like a neutral looking toy box, just like a neutral palette room, because we have a few different toy boxes in the game that both children and toddlers can use, but they're just very out there. And because of that, I feel like I've always gone towards kind of like the same toy box colour swatch, because there's one that's kind of like a little bit more of like a neutral beigey kind of colour. It seems to be an animal, and that's like more towards like the neutral kind of just generic kind of toy box. But like we've got one, for example, that's like a school bus. Don't get me wrong, my Sims kids might absolutely love school. It doesn't mean that I want their toy box to look like a school bus. I just feel like we've needed something like this for so long, but the Growing Together toy box comes in some really beautiful little swatches, and it looks like a toy box that has been handed down. Maybe it was like the father's toy box when he was growing up, when he was a little boy, and then maybe he saved it and then he gave it to his little boy, and it just looks a little bit more worn and a little bit more lived in, and it's just really pretty. And I'm a massive fan of the new toy box object. But also in that room, I decided to use the new rug that we got from, I say new, no, it is new, it's from a Sims 4 base game, but we got it from the Growing Together update, like the patch just beforehand. We got a few new rugs, a few new like decorational pieces. I used a new rug in that room, and I was a little bit apprehensive at first if I should use that rug, just because last week when I built that huge Generations family home, I did also use the same rug in the kids' room in that build. But then I was thinking, well, it is a really nice rug and it has got spaceships on it, and it's really sweet. And so I thought, you know what, it probably doesn't matter too much. So I popped that down into that room, and then I used a Parenthood bed as well in kind of like a little bit of a camo swatch. I nearly said camel then, camo swatch. But now, as you can see, I've now moved on to the next room, which is the infants room. I honestly am having the time of my life decorating rooms for infants, just because I can't believe we've now just got a new life stage in The Sims 4. Like, honestly, I didn't think we'd ever get updated babies, because I've always joked about it and I've always said that how I'd wish that we'd get, updated object babies, but I never thought they'd actually do it. But they actually have done it. And now we have a crib, we have a changing table, we have like a little play mat. We actually now have a little bit more of a, I don't want to say updated babies, because object babies are very much still a thing, but in terms of an actual new life stage, it's a little bit more of a younger life stage. No, they can't really interact yet, they can't really lift their head up until they've unlocked that milestone. It's just so much fun, and I have a lot of fun decorating infants' bedrooms, and I'm excited to do some more. I've only done 2, well actually no, 3, because I've done one for my household camera, but they are a lot of fun to decorate. But in this bedroom, there ends up being a changing table with a little bin, by the way, make sure you have a bin in the rooms that you're changing your infants in, because from my own personal experience, if your Sims don't have a bin in that room, there is going to be so many different nappies just all over the floor. Like your Sims, they just chuck them on the floor, they don't care, they'll just be in the middle of the room. So make sure when you're building rooms for your infants, you include a bin. The changing table that we got from the Growing Together expansion pack, luckily enough, it does have a slot, so you can just plop down a bin and it will kind of like clip to the item, so it kind of comes as a pair as the changing table and a bin. But it also ends up having a little rocking chair in that room. I really debated, I placed it down and then I took it away and then I put it back again, but I really debated placing down at this really beautiful lamp, which I think off memory we got from the Decor to the Max kit. It's this really beautiful kind of like overhanging lamp. It's got all these different tassels on it. I thought it would be absolutely perfect for that room, so I placed that down into the corner next to the little rocking chair. Also placed down this little, I think it's meant to be a goat or a sheep or something like that, kind of like footstool. It is meant to be something that your Sims are meant to sit on, but I thought it was the perfect height to be kind of like a little side table for what I imagine one of the parents to be reading the kid to sleep, or maybe like reading the infant to sleep, and maybe they've fallen asleep on that rocking table and they've got their little book that they're reading and they just like plopped it onto the footstool. I thought that was quite cute in there. I also placed down at some of the new decorational objects. So one of my favourite new decorations is this kind of like teddy bear, but it's a fairy. I remember seeing that in the Growing Together reveal trailer for the first time and just being just so happy that we was finally getting another teddy bear in the game. But unfortunately, it is just a decorational object, but I still love it. I really did think it was going to be one of them teddy bears, you know, that your Sims can actually like hug and talk to, and if they're the kid in this household, maybe hit when they're getting a bit hot-headed. But unfortunately, it's just a decorational object, but it is really cute. It's a little teddy bear and it's got little fairy wings, and it's also got a little tutu on, I'm pretty sure as well, which is just so sweet. But I placed that down into there. There is also a playmat in that room, and I did debate at one point placing down the playmat into the lounge room downstairs. Then, you know, you could do tummy time downstairs in the lounge with the rest of the family, but there just wasn't enough space in the lounge room, and so I ended up opting for a little rocking chair. But there is a playmat in that room. It's very colourful. I spoke about this last week, but the new playmat that we've got from the Growing Together EP, it comes in some lovely swatches, don't get me wrong, but very bright swatches. I mean, it suits a kid because kids are meant to, you know, love bright colours and stuff. But yeah, I placed that down to there. But now I've moved on into the last room, which is the parents' bedroom. In here, I had to use the new bed that we got from the EP. I did also use this last week, but I just have this thing when we have new objects, I just want to use them all the time and just see the different ways that I can mismatch furniture from different DLCs and just see how they like combine together. But I use it in this room, and there ends up being a little dressing room. You see through the archway, ends up having one of the get together wardrobes in there, as well as a little makeup vanity, and then also placed down this tiny little wardrobe that we also got from this new expansion pack. But I was thinking it was maybe like a jewellery stand or something, because we've got an absolutely massive wardrobe next to the dressing table, and then we have like a smaller wardrobe. And so I was thinking, yeah, maybe just make it into like a little jewellery stand. In game it is still just going to be like a normal wardrobe, but I liked the look of it. I didn't want to just plop a plant into that little corner and then call it done, so I thought I'd use it. And again, it's a new object, and I just wanted to use all the new objects that we got from the new expansion pack. But apart from that, I'm just going to come in, cluster up this little dressing table, place down like some hair dryers, some eyeshadow palettes, and that is pretty much it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My gallery ID is JessicapieYT, or you can search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedrunning video. Bye guys.